Brandi Glanville says she will shake for rest of life with illness. Brandi Glanville has shocked her fans with a mysterious illness that has left her face distorted. On top of that, she just released a recent video that showed her shaking uncontrollably as she said she was fighting to get better. This comes over a month after she resurfaced following a parasite debacle. Here is what Brandi said in the recent video, along with a little about her mystery illness. Brandi Glanville shaking uncontrollably in new video. Brandi Glanville shared a video on Twitter that showed her shaking uncontrollably. She was also talking about the parasite in her face and what she was trying to do to get better. What was happening was that she was on a lymphatic drainage machine. This device is meant to stimulate fluid movement and relieve pain. Glanville said in the 30-second video, "I will shake for the rest of my life if this thing gets out of my body." Brandi also tried to explain what happened in the caption. She wrote, So about 5 years ago the boys and I had black mold poisoning from a toxic house we lived in. We got a 6-figure settlement. Boo, this is crazy. She is working with plastic surgeon Dr. Terry Dubrow and she tagged him. She then wrote, let's get this F*********. Dubrow has not admitted to a parasite in Brandi's face. Instead, he said they would do some surgical tissue sampling to figure out an exact diagnosis. Brandi said that her face disfiguration has meant she hasn't had sex since October 2023. The Real Housewives star said she will work with anyone who can help her. Brandi Glanville struggling right now with illness. According to Brandi Glanville, in December 2024, the stress from her feud with Caroline Manzo caused her to become disfigured. Brandi said she had her fillers dissolved and then lost 5 teeth as a result of all the stress in her life. Brandi then went to a new dentist, thanks to Phaedra Parks, and got her teeth worked on. She also started therapy. However, she said that there was more going on with her face that concerned her. She said there was a parasite in her face that was moving around, and she had spent over $70,000 to figure out what was wrong. Brandi then went to a new dentist, thanks to Phaedra Parks, and got her teeth worked on. She also started therapy. However, she said that there was more going on with her face that concerned her. She said there was a parasite in her face that was moving around, and she had spent over $70,000 to figure out what was wrong. Brandi Glanville had never been the type to shy away from the spotlight. Whether she was stirring the pot on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or setting social media ablaze with her unfiltered opinions, she thrived in a world of glamour, controversy, and high heels. But now the lights felt too bright, the cameras too intrusive, and even the simplest movement sent shivers through her body, literally. "I will shake for the rest of my life," Brandi admitted in a raw, emotional confession on social media. The words weren't meant to be dramatic. They were simply the truth. What started as a strange, persistent tremor in her hands had evolved into something far more insidious. The glitz and chaos of her usual world had been replaced by an exhausting battle against her own body. The unwelcome guest. The first time Brandi noticed it, she was holding a glass of wine during a girls' night out. She had always been steady-handed. Years of clinking glasses and gesturing wildly in arguments had made her a pro at maintaining control. But that night, the wine sloshed over the rim as her fingers trembled. Too much rosé, someone teased, and Brandi had laughed it off. But the next morning, the shaking was still there. It wasn't just her hands. A strange, buzzing sensation spread through her arms and into her legs. Doctors ran tests, blood work, scans. Words like neurological disorder and autoimmune response were thrown around like confetti at a reunion episode. No definitive answers came, just vague possibilities and experimental treatments that left her feeling exhausted and frustrated. For a woman who had built a career on being loud and outspoken, silence was the worst part. The not knowing, the waiting, the fear that this was her new normal. A different kind of strength. Brandi had never been afraid to show vulnerability, but this felt different. Sickness wasn't like a social media scandal. There was no clapping back, no damage control, no triumphant return with a killer outfit, and a "what did I miss" attitude. It was humbling, stripping her of the sharp edges that had made her, well, Brandi Glanville. Even the simple things became impossible. Holding a cup of coffee without spilling it was a challenge. Buttoning a blouse felt like a task meant for someone with more dexterity. Walking down a red carpet without worrying if her knees would buckle took a mental pep talk every time. The worst part? The world kept spinning. The reality TV landscape moved on, new drama filling the void she once occupied. She watched from the sidelines, wanting to dive back in but knowing her energy was too fragile to withstand the blows. And yet, she refused to disappear. Reclaiming the narrative. Brandi had made a career out of being unfiltered, and she wasn't about to stop now. If she was going to live with this illness, she was going to own it. "I'll shake, but I won't break," she posted one morning, accompanying the caption with a video of her hand trembling as she signed a book for a fan. The response was immediate: messages of support, fellow sufferers reaching out with their own stories, encouragement from celebrities and reality stars alike. For the first time, she realized she wasn't alone. She leaned into advocacy, speaking about her experience in interviews, raising awareness for neurological disorders, and connecting with researchers who were looking for breakthroughs. The same fire that fueled her infamous Housewives feuds now burned for something more meaningful. But that didn't mean she lost her signature Brandi edge. Finding balance in chaos. "Look, I've survived a lot," she joked in an interview. Reality TV, Twitter wars, ex-husbands, Lisa Vanderpump's shade. This is just another fight. And I'll fight it with a cocktail in one hand, even if it's a little shaky. Her humor was still there, even if her body betrayed her. She adapted, finding ways to embrace this new version of herself. She wore looser bracelets so they wouldn't emphasize the tremors. She learned to drink out of heavier glasses that were easier to grip. She even joked that if she ever went back on Housewives, she'd use the shaking to throw even more dramatic hand gestures. But in private, the struggle was real. Some days, she couldn't get out of bed without feeling like she'd run a marathon. The simplest tasks could leave her in tears. The anxiety of an unpredictable body made her hesitant to commit to projects. And there were times she wondered if the Brandi the world knew and loved, the fierce, fearless firecracker, was fading away. Then, a reality check. She had survived betrayals, public humiliation, and reinvention more times than she could count. Why should this be any different? The next chapter. Brandi Glanville might shake for the rest of her life, but she wasn't going to let it define her. She refused to be a tragic story or a cautionary tale. If anything, she was a lesson in resilience, proof that even when life knocks you down, you get up, reapply your lip gloss, and keep going. "I'm not done yet," she promised. And knowing Brandi, that was a guarantee.